Hey guys, welcome to another one of our videos. I'm the Worm, this is the Proton. Today we're going to be doing a review of a product we did receive free of charge. It will not affect our review in any way, shape or form. We received this from Firstvape.co.uk. Thank you very much to Dave for sending that down. And we are going to be reviewing the...
Today we are doing the ProTank 2 from Kanger from Firstvape.co.uk. What we're going to do, get the nitty gritty out of the way first of all?
Yeah, get the nitty gritty out.
Okay, nitty gritty price on this one, $16.99. You can use ProWorm to get 10% off that, so it'll cost you a couple of quid less. Wicked stuff, always good.
Obviously Firstvape is official Kanger products, they don't sell any replicas or anything. It is 100% from Kanger to Firstvape to your door. So you can be safe in mind that it is all official.
Dave is your Kanger man.
Yes.
What we're going to do very quickly is go over some of the standard stuff about the new ProTank 2, the sort of internet bump, and then we're going to fill it up for you. Have a wee vape, have a little flap, as per the norm is how we do it. So basically what we're going to do is run through very quickly what you get in the box. I'm not going to do it down on the table close up, there's no need for that. Basically what you get, first of all, a nice presentation box with a sort of shadowed silhouette of the ProTank, which I think is quite cool. Open it up, inside you have yourself a little, pass that to the Worm, a little instructions booklet, and what you've got is a very simple picture of the ProTank 2 on now. You've got a little congratulations for your purchase, and underneath that you've got your recommended volts for your resistances, which is wicked. If you want to pause on that, guys, and confirm if you have lost yours, whatever you can do.
Or if you had an earlier product which doesn't have it. So
indeed, these are designed for bottom cores though, so bear that in mind. Your top cores tend to be running a little bit harder, a little bit higher on the voltages. Advantage of that straight away is that your batteries are going to last longer because you're not having to push them as hard to get to the butter zone.
yes.
So that's wicked. And then you've got very simple filling instructions and assembly instructions, but we'll go through that with you in this video. So we're going to put that down now. You got something to say?
Yeah, just a few pointers on the actual site. It does say this is chrome plated steel, so it's going to be a little bit more durable.
Harder wearing and stuff.
Because you said they were saying about with the base.
And the original ProTank apparently was, I mean, basically one of the pros of this is it's got a strengthened base, which we'll show you in a second. Apparently there was a few problems with the first one. Also the first one was, the version 1 was chrome dipped brass, I believe. I mean, so it's not as strong.
I've got the first one. I didn't have a problem with the base, I had a problem with the device being rubbish, but
there you go.
That was the first one. This is the actual official second one. We're not sure if the first one I got was official, but this one definitely is, and you've been using it the last couple of days.
Yeah, I've been using it at work and everything else just to put it through its paces, but we've reboxed it just to show you what you're going to get. So very simply guys, in here you have your ProTank. Okay, you've got two coils, and you have the base, the 510 base for the ProTank. So what we're going to do very quickly is pull it out if the Worm will hold for us. Very simple stuff. Remove the silicone from the drip tip. This is a drip tip 510. You can put any and every drip tip you like. There's not any that I've tried that haven't been able to go in there, so that's a massive thumbs up. The first ProTank, it was one of the bad things we pointed out about the looks is you couldn't customise it. That's now been eradicated.
But don't take that as gospel, because obviously there are some 510s out there that don't fit in all devices, so just be aware that 99% of them will fit, but there is going to be that small chance that yours may not, if it's a custom one.
Indeed, but none that we've tried haven't fitted. Very simple stuff guys, compared to the ProTank, which is a sealed unit, pain in the bum to clean. This ProTank 2 completely disassembles. Okay, so you've got your top piece there, which has got your connecting bar in the middle. You've then got a Pyrex tank, which is wicked. Your juices aren't going to crack this, which is something that the ProTank 1 had, and I'm glad they kept that because I think that most of them should be going this way, but these will be readily available guys, so if something was to happen, if you was to drop this and it was to crack, replacing a little tank, even if it's 3 or 4 quid, 5 quid, it's not as expensive as replacing an entire Clearo. Give that to the assistant. And then this is the base that we're talking about, the strengthened base. Can you see that in there? I mean obviously that serves a purpose for your...
Strengthened base?
Yeah. This is a strengthened base.
Oh, is that one?
Yeah. This obviously is for your top cap to screw into.
It comes apart, doesn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, but it is, like as one pointed out, it's all stainless steel, it's chrome plate stainless steel, but that is your strengthened base. This does feel rock solid. I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on that and there's no movement or anything in there. And then you have your, you have your 510 base. Fairly simple stuff. I have no fingernails, sorry guys. Basically, this is your ProTank core. These are the same cores that are used in the ProTank 1 and the Mini ProTank, which is good if you've got a 1 or a mini and you're going to use this in conjunction with, which is always good to put your coil into your base. You literally take the 510 base that was separate, same as the ProTank 1, and just screw that bad boy in. That's that in there, lovely jubbly stuff.
Just looking at them, they look like the same as the EVOD as well. So
I know the EVODs are slightly short, but I also know that you can use an EVOD head in a ProTank 1, so stands to reason, being the same head, you could use them in this if you chose to, just not designed to, alright?
Obviously that's personal risk if you want to do that.
Indeed. Now with this bottom cap and your top cap, you should have O-rings inside the caps. Alright, when I first pulled this one out of the box, the O-ring had obviously, where it was all dry, come out with the tank, so just take that off and slip it back into the cap. That's where it should be. Major bonus to this coming apart is just it's easy to clean these. You just rinse these, simple stuff. With the ProTank one, you had to get sort of something in there, rinse it around. Drying it was a massive pain. It could be done, but it was a bugbear of mine.
Once it was a bit off, let off to drip dry rather than actually try and clean it out, because obviously, undoubtedly, you get something stuck in there.
Indeed. Right now, to put this together, take your top or bottom, whichever one you start with, plonk your tank on, simple as that. You then grab your head, that bit there goes down into the tank, and you literally just screw it up, finger tight. I mean, I tighten it so it's not going to go any more without reasonable force, and that is that.
Just be aware, guys, this is obviously Pyrex, so it's going to be able to withstand quite a bit of pressure, but if you do want to give it that Herculean strength twist, you may crack that tank. It is still only glass Pyrex sort of thing, so...
Indeed, and obviously dropping it off of ladders and buildings, you don't actually need to hold it anymore.
No, you don't.
Dropping it off ladders and buildings isn't going to stand up. What we'll do is we'll quickly chuck some juice into this. It's a similar setup to the ProTank 1. You've got, I know it's a bit glary there, guys, hopefully you can make that out. You've got, now, because of that strap head, you've got a bar that goes across as opposed to just your central pole, but fill-in procedure is exactly the same.
Down the side.
We've got we've got apple pom smoothie we're going to put in this one. Now, I'll try and do this on camera. No, that will bite me in the bum. But basically, you literally just take it and down the sidewall. It's fairly simple stuff. Give it a wee squeeze. That's one pipette. Let's go again.
So generally, guys, we do use needle nose for this, but we thought we would stick a new flavour in here and see what it's like.
And now basically, I'm going to get more than 2 in here.
Yeah.
You can basically fill to that centre tube, and now that centre tube actually screws into
What's that, about 1.6 mil in there so far?
I have no idea. We'll see what the listed tank capacity is. I would say now we're looking at about 2 to 2.4 mil. I think the tank capacity on these is 2.4, 2.5 mil, but I will double check that. Very sloppy work from Kanger ProTank as per usual. Once you've filled up, then all you do is grab your 510 with your atomizer head in. That goes in the central tube, and you screw her up. It's as simple as that. You can then plonk your drip tip in it, which is that one there. Your addy one that comes with it. Personally, I think I'm going to put that one in. I'll put this nice stainless steel one. There. That's ProTank. If it's the first time that you are using it, I would leave it to sit for sort of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to allow that wick to sort of absorb some of that juice. I mean, giving it a little shake and a couple of dry pulls, that's actually just pulled some liquid in, so that's wicked, will help speed that process along. But it is what it is. That is what you should do. What are we going to run this on?
Your box mod?
Yeah. Ooh, let's do that. Right, okay, guys.
This is a Vamo box mod that Mr. Proton and I made the other day. Well, mainly him, but I got wall wounds and he didn't. Damn him!
Because I'm a beast. Right, guys, a couple of things to mention very quickly. The ProTank 1 atomizer heads, to be honest, neither of us were the biggest fans of, and these being the same heads, I didn't expect great things to start with. First day of using it, it was performing just fine. No problem whatsoever. I've had no leaking, gurgling or anything because I've been using this more than the Worm has. I did find though that when I was sat there doing what I call rape vaping, so I was puff, 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 that the hits weren't dry, but they didn't feel like a full sort of juiced up hit. So what I did was I popped the top off of the atomizer head, and there's 2 juice wicks in there, hippie wicks. I removed one of those juice wicks in this atomizer head that we've put in here now. It's been freshly cleaned and everything else, so it's all springy daisy, but it is down 1 hippie wick compared to what you get in your standard ones. It's not hard to do, and if you find that is happening to you, it's quite easy to just plonk one of those hippie wicks out.
Just bear in mind, guys, for people that are just using it as a clear miser just to keep them off the fags, you're probably not going to need to do that because you won't be vaping anywhere near as hard as we personally do. We personally vape a lot lower strength to probably what we would do if we was vaping less than we are. But we hit it hard and we all day, constantly, pretty much. We do it as a pleasure thing rather than to keep us off the fags now. So
pretty much. Well, I've just had a little look, and basically for 2.1 to 2.3 ohms, basically 1.7 to 1.9 is 3.1 to 3.3 volts. 2.1 to 2.7 is 3.4 to 3.7 volts. This is a 2.2 ohm atomizer head. Both of the ones that come in are 2.2 ohms. I've just read this and it's coming up 2.5. That is probably the fact it's been used. When I put this head in, both of them were bang on 2.2 ohms, which I do like. I like, although it's acceptable to be sort of a couple of points up or a couple of points down. When they say it's 2.2 and it actually comes out at 2.2, it's always nice. It just is, because you know exactly what you're getting. So ours has obviously risen a bit where it's been used for a couple of days. So I'm going to stick this on what it recommends. So it recommends 3.4 to 3.7, so we'll stick it at 3.5 just because we can. A wee little bit.
I expected 3.7 from you, because Mr. Parton does generally like to have a hot vape, and because obviously this is a bottom cooled clearomizer, it's generally going to be cooler. You're going to have to push it a little bit harder, but obviously you're running the risk of dry hits and obviously burning your actual wicker. Yeah, I thought so. You obviously run the risk of dry hits and obviously burning your actual wick out completely and then being tainted by a yucky taste.
Indeed. So I'm just going to tinker with this very slightly.
Go a little bit higher. Remember you are running
I'm at
4.
I'm at 4. One thing I have noticed using this ProTank, it's flavour more than anything else. When I'm up and down the volts, as well as pointed out, usually I like to run things hot and hard, so I'm a kind of person that will sit there with sub-ohm coils and a mechanical mod and still want more and more and more. Not necessarily just for flavour, but for sort of vapour temperature and everything else. That leads me to the first thing. The vape off these bottom coils is going to be cooler unless you're running them quite hard. It's not a cold vape, but it's not a hot vape either. But what I have noticed is, said this to Worm, and I think Worm agreed even when we did the ProTank 1, the vape, the flavour of the vape, it's got a butter zone, and these guidelines do sit where the flavour tends to be best. Not with every juice, not with every device, but everything that we try.
That's a good estimate.
Pretty much bang on. I mean, I've just had this on sort of 3.7, and the flavour is, I mean, it's an apple pomegranate smoothie juice, and it's definitely better on 3.7. The flavour is definitely better than it is on 4. The vape is slightly warmer on 4, but the flavour is definitely better. What do you reckon?
So I'm just going to have a couple of posts at 3.7, then go to a colour of 4.
Indeed. I have no idea what I was about to say. I'm so sorry. It's just literally straight over the head. It's one of those ones, guys. You know how we do it. But one thing I do want to point out very, very briefly is I do think you're actually getting quite a lot for your money here, seeing as this is a clearomizer. I mean, if you bring into price of something that's quite well known, say for example Nova, an SCV Nova is about 12 quid. This is only a 5 or more, and you're getting glass, stainless steel. You're getting a tank that's fully disassemblable, same as the Nova is. But it's a much better build quality on this one.
Yeah, I mean, back to what Mr. Brown was saying, these instructions they give you on the temperature you want to run it at, or the resistance and the coil and all that. Yeah, 3.7 seems to be the sweet spot. 4, it wasn't so much
but it's not
a dry hit, it was just lacking.
The flavour, it's not punchy, it's not nowhere near as punchy, so that's one thing to bear in mind, guys. Just if you've got something variable voltage, tinker with it, and obviously you've got different resistance atomizer heads. If you haven't got variable voltage, you can buy the lower and the higher atomizer heads and see where you prefer on the device that you're using at the time. So it is what it is.
That's it's actually quite good. I'm actually quite surprised. I mean, after trying the Kanger ProTank 1, which kind of led us back to the dreaded T3, which the EVOD bring us back to Kanger are good. This has revitalised Kanger again. It seems to be an uphill. It's like a pulse thing.
With Kanger.
One crap product, one wicked product. Crap product, wicked product. If they could just level that out on the wicked product, then maybe we would rate them a little bit more. But
I do want to point out quickly though, one of the reasons that Dave didn't sell the T3s, and I'm guessing the ProTank one as well, is because he actually himself runs this stuff into the ground, tests it and everything else, and he said to both of us that if he thinks it's rubbish, he won't sell it. He cares more about customer satisfaction than profit margins, and then having to deal with all the crap that comes back off of it afterwards, which is always good. It's happy customers all the way around, so it's definitely worth having a little check out on there. Because
and to be honest, it actually does help back up like our claims of like we didn't like the T3, and Dave does only supply Kanger products. So I mean, we tried the T3, it's crap. Dave hasn't got it.
It does do some other stuff, but
he
sells the tanks mainly.
The EVOD. We rate the EVOD highly as a starter kit, even more so than buying yourself a Nova and a variable volt these days, because you buy it, it works, you charge it, you refill it, done job. And then you've got the ProTank 1, not anywhere on your site to be found. I bought one because we wanted to test it and put it through its paces. When you whip your own coil, it works pretty well. As it is out of the kit, rubbish. But then this one, again, it revitalises the whole brand of Kanger, and it just shows you that they can produce good quality stuff. Just why can't you do it all the time?
Well, the ProTank 1 was very, very popular. It was, I mean, incredibly popular. I mean, part of it was down to the look. It did look fantastic.
Oh, it does, yeah.
And we kind of was on the hype as well. We was like, oh, we really want to get one. Both of us said this. And one day Worm took the plunge and I bought one, and then kind of used it a little bit and was just like, was not happy chappy. We did a review. We posted it. You can go and have a look at it if you like. I think what we're going to do, I think, should we go into sort of 5-point hit list, and then do all of this flapping on the other side of that. We do, if you haven't seen our videos before, we'll do a 5-point hit list. We've got sort of looks, usability, maintenance, flavour of vaping and overall. We'll probably then go into sort of a few good and bad points, because there are good and bad with everything you buy, and then a flap on the other side of it as usual.
Yeah. We kind of diverge a little bit while we're doing this, but just bear with us. We do get through within as quick as we possibly can, which is
always long.
But looks, to be honest, I prefer this look to the first ProTank, and as a Clearomizer, I think it looks wicked. It really does. I mean, I do prefer it with the drip tip he's put in it. I don't like the alley one that comes with it, but that again is a personal thing that can be changed in 5 seconds.
It's not a bad tip though.
It's not a bad tip. I just don't think it fits the chrome plane on the.
It doesn't fit as well. No, it doesn't. The colour is very slightly different. Sorry, but again, you can change it. That's the thing of it.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks 10.
Looks for me, we give the ProTank quite high looks, and we did say that it's mainly.
To be honest, we give a lot of Kanger products high looks.
Oh, Kanger products do look good, but we give the ProTank in particular, because this is obviously version 2, quite high looks, quite high marks on looks. Sorry, and we said that the main thing they could do to improve it was that give your own drip tip. When we said it might spoil the look, but with this they've actually flared the top, and with the right drip tip, I think that looks awesome. For a little Clearomizer, I think that looks awesome. Looks for me, it's nothing other than a 10. I think this is probably the best looking Clearomizer I've ever had. It is as simple as that. What more can you want from it? I really don't know. It's just an awesome looking little thing. I love this thing, the way it looks. It's wicked. It's a 10.
Yeah. Usability. I mean, it's a Clearomizer. If you're using it as a disposable coil Clearomizer and not re-whipping them yourself, it's the usability is minimal. When your juice runs out and you're going to swap juices, wash it. If you put in the same juice back in, just put it straight back in. The plus side you got to this as well, if your head breaks, you've got this bottom cord. You turn it upside down, take it out, change your head, put it back in. You haven't even wasted any of your juice to actually put this new head in. So usability is a 10.
Usability for me, I think I gave the version 1 of this an 8. And the main reason it was an 8 is because you couldn't clean it. And now with this you can fully disassemble it. It's still Pyrex glass, it's stainless steel all the way through. Yeah, it's wicked. It is a 10. It's a Clearomizer, and it is as easy as the ProTank, plus you can clean it properly. So usability for me is definitely a 10. Worm did touch on re-wicking their heads yourself. We said this in the EVOD and the ProTank video. It seems like after the sort of T3 fiasco where you had to get needle nose in there and everything else, they have made these easier for you to re-wick yourself if you choose to do so, which is another positive, I think. Being able to do that, because it's cheaper if you choose to do it, and also depending on how good you are at re-wicking, it can also up them flavour marks for you. So down to preference obviously, but you can do it now and it's not hard. There you go.
Maintenance. There is minimal to maintain. You've got to clean it when you change juice and swap out your head if you're using it as a replacement coil system. 10.
Maintenance of it, yeah. I mean, what have you got to maintain? It's literally as easy as it is with any Clearo. You just got to maintain the coil. So put one out, put one in, and as Worm's pointed out, with this you haven't even got to take the juice out of the tank. Just flip it upside down. That coil's going bad. Another one in. that's a job done. Lovely, lovely stuff. So yeah, it can only be a 10. What more can you want from it?
Yeah. Flavour and vapour. Flavour of it is a clearomiser. It's not going to be hitting smashing records like drippers and stuff, but as a clearomiser, the flavour out of it, when you get it to, if you go by its recommendations, is really, really good.
If you've got variable voltage, you can find what your
butter
preference.
zone. But yeah, the flavour out of it is it's more than acceptable for a clearomiser, more than acceptable. And I'm going to say 8.5 for flavour. And a vapour of this, about the same, about 9. So I mean, for a clearomiser, that's really, really good. It really is. So
me, flavour is, compared to other clearomisers, it's like a 10. It's a really, really nice, really well hitting clearomiser. The flavour's coming through lovely and strong. Compared to sort of, like as Worm said, the bigger other devices out there, it is about an 8. But for a clearomiser to be at an 8 compared to the devices we use, that's a very good flavour here. Sorry. Vapour again is about an 8 compared to others, but in a Clearo it's as good as any is out there. This is my favourite Clearo to date, to be honest with you. It's actually taken place at the EVOD. I really, really do rate this, and as pointed out, I do like to run things hot, I like to run things hard. I use drippers a lot, I use rebuildable tanks, so expensive, that is a lot. And I've been using this for the last 2 days, and it hasn't been a struggle at all. Usually if I use a Clearomiser, it's like, it's just about getting me through, but then I've got to pull out something to go, that's what I wanted. But with this, I haven't actually had that. It's been a case of I've been using it and it's not been a chore. I haven't really noticed that I'm using it. I'm just cracking on. It's been serving its purpose just lovely. So yeah, it's a very, very nice Clearomiser. I really, really do rate this one for flavour and vapour. Very good stuff. Overall, in its range as a Clearomiser, 10. It just is. It's easy to maintain. It's easy to clean. You haven't got to worry about losing juice when you replace a coil. It's the best on the market right now. It really is for a Clearomiser. It's a 10. In the vaping world as a whole, it's still like an 8.5, pushing on that 9. It really is, just because it's a tank and it holds juice and you don't have to worry about it leaking or anything. You put it in your device, it works. for me overall, if you're a Clearo user, it is a solid 10. To be honest, even if you're not a Clearo user, it's a solid 10. It is 17 quid, which compared to a lot of other Clearos, sort of CE5s and that, is expensive, but you do get a lot for your money. CE5s break, they're not built very well. This is built very well, solid. Tanks are replaceable, so all you've got to do is replace a tank. Yeah, it's a 10. It is a 10. If you're using Clearomisers, you'll use this one and be like, yes, that is awesome. But even for me and the Worm, this is a solid all-day vape. This is a solid, I can take this to work, I could throw this around, it's just going to keep coming back for more, I can keep using it and not be a problem. This is definitely, this is a very, very good Clearomiser, atomizer, however you want to word it, which we wasn't expecting after the version 1. Very, very nice stuff off of this one. Should we go into sort of a little flat now?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, as I was saying before, Kanger seems to be an up and down roller coaster ride when you buy their products. It seems to be one of those, but this one, it does revitalise. You're thinking, oh, Kanger have gone good again. They're doing it right, they're doing it properly, and they're going to turn around and slap me in the face with a fish, I swear, next time. And it's just
slap you in the face with a fish. Oh,
so
God.
It's just like, I love them, but I love to hate them too. They're that sort of company. The ones they throw beautiful devices at you and then kick you to the curb and just say, no, you know that piece of thing and get on with it. But then they come back and go, oh, we love you again, have this is awesome. And it's just, it's an emotional roller coaster. And also you can tell that from the way I'm talking to you now, that I love to hate them and I hate to love them.
This is Worm's version of Worm's view of Kanger.
Yeah,
there's good and bad with every company though, isn't there, to be honest with you, but I mean, one of the good things about Firstvape is that they will always store the good and the bad is chucked, which I think is awesome. Sorry, which I think is good stuff. A couple of the sort of not necessarily big down points, but a couple of the semi-negative things I wanted to point out about this. In the kit, you don't get the ego sleeve that you got with the ProTank 1. When pointed this out when we started, just before we started as well, is that you don't get the ego cone. Don't be wrong, we don't use egos. It's not an issue for us, but it's nice to have it. I know you're paying a bit more, and that's probably how they're keeping them costs down slightly, is because you're not getting that little bit extra, but you are getting the additional materials that are involved in this, and there are quite a few additional materials involved in this. But it would have been nice to have one if you're an ego user. I know if you had a version 1 though, you really got one, so crack on. One of the other down points, and I'm just gonna check this whilst we're on camera, but I have tried a few times to get this to work, and it just doesn't seem to want to. Let me just...
On certain devices.
On certain devices, well, no, every device that I've tried, every device I've tried so far, and I'm not entirely sure as to why, but let me just try this to make sure I'm not about to give you false information. Yeah, basically, it's a wee bit strange. You've got air channels cut into the... I don't, you better flush mount on there. You've got air channels cut into the bottom of the ProTank 2. Yeah, give it a go. Yeah, you've got air channels cut into the bottom of the ProTank 2, and obviously that's meant to supply air feed for when you flush mount. And you've also got it's fed through the 510. So take for example what I've just tried it on is the KTS. Now what you've got in there is you've got air channels on the outside, and you've also got air channels cut into the 510 connection. So basically, even if it sits flush, it's not sitting flush.
But it's still not getting air.
Even though it sits flush on that top end, you've got air channels in the KTS. You've also got air channels cut into the ProTank, so there should be plenty of airflow, and you've got air channels on top of the 510, so you should be getting air feed through that. It's not getting air feed when you flush mount it, and I'm not entirely sure as to why.
I just put it on one of my batteries over there. It didn't flush mount, there was a clear gap, still no air feed.
It doesn't make sense to me, and I'm not entirely sure why, unless maybe the 510 is slightly shorter than it's supposed to be, or slightly shorter by design, and in which case the air holes are getting buried. But saying that, you have got threading that runs over them air holes. It looks basically they've threaded the 510 and drilled the air holes in afterwards. That may be why, but that is a downside for me anyway, because I like to be able to flush mount things, and when I first got this I thought, wicked, it's a ProTank, it's meant to be used on sort of lower voltages, so if I put this on a mechanical on a sort of semi-full battery, I should be getting about 3.7 volts through this, roughly where they recommend you sit on this kind of ohm coil, so I should be able to have a lovely vape, and it will look awesome, and it won't flush mount anything. It won't. I mean, with the box mod that I made, see, it does sit all the way down on that, but you've got a clear path all the way around, but the air channels cut into the bottom of the ProTank shouldn't be allowing this to happen, especially since all the devices I've tried it on also have air feed. I mean, the K100 for example has got air holes drilled into it, still happening, so that is a downside. For a lot of people it won't affect, okay, if you're using egos and stuff it's not going to affect you, but just be aware that this is what we've had with this one. It may not be everyone. Here you go. You got a plimp?
That's all right.
This may not happen to you, but just be aware that it's a potential that it could. We will try it now very quickly, just to make sure. On a, well, this is a smoke shop winder, but yeah, you've got air feed there, and I mean that's it on a winder. I think it does look pretty cool. Let's get these rolls. Lovely. But yeah, that's just a niggly little thing that's been kind of annoying me, and that didn't happen with the ProTank 1. Yeah, it didn't happen with the ProTank 1, so maybe there's a little design flaw there, but I really wish that wasn't the case. It's just pointing this out to you. It may not be like this with everyone, we may just have got one that is like this, but in our experience with Kanger, they tend to all be pretty consistent, so I mean they're either consistently good or consistently bad, but either way they're consistent. Yeah. But that's just a little niggle. Something I do want to point out that's positive is the fact that you get I mean, although it's not either of our preferences in terms of the best drip tip for it, it is a nice drip tip, and that doesn't look bad at all. It's just the colour slightly off, but you've got to be this close to check to really see it.
But we do check these devices.
But the thumbs up for this is the fact that it's alloy, it's metal. I mean, with the Novas and pretty much everything you get a drip tip included with, usually it's a plastic or acrylic drip tip, black or clear, depending on where you get it from. I like the fact you get a bit of metal there. Again, they could have scrimped and saved themselves a couple of pennies or whatever by giving you a plastic one, and people probably wouldn't really have minded that much. But it's nice that they have put a decent drip tip on it, which is, I think, is wicked.
But like we say with Kanger, you either get all good or all bad. So
one of them ones. And another slight little niggle is I've had to remove one of them hippie wicks, but I'd imagine that is because most of the juices I was using in the run up to that.
I think that might have been just you like vaping hard.
No, I wasn't vaping seriously hard, mate. I wasn't vaping seriously hard.
Even light vaping for us is hard for most people.
No, it wasn't. But I think part of it may be down to the fact that the juice I was using was a 50-50 mix, and a lot. I mean, with these wicks, if you put a 50-50 mix in there, it will wick just fine. It just felt like it was slightly lacking for me. It didn't need it, but it was better with it, basically, with that wick removed. But had I been running a high PG or a 100% PG juice, then I'd imagine now, with that hippie wick removed, I'd have some gurgling and flooding issues. So they can make it usable for all PG and it still works for 50-50 and so on, but doing it on the opposite side could lead to flooding while people use high PG juices. And most of the juices out there are predominantly PG, so I guess they've got to go with the masses. But that is a little downside for me, is that I've had to remove one of the hippie wicks. But in all honesty, these are us trying to find niggles for trying to find niggles. The fact that it doesn't flush mount, slightly annoying.
I think the other thing is, because we are used to vaping higher end devices, shall we just say, that when it comes down to like, you feel that it's lacking and we'd like to tweak and tinker with our stuff, we just do it. We don't think about it, we just do it naturally now. It's just like, that's not vaping to what I want. Bosh, out it comes, let's have a look, tinker, 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 done, that's working perfectly now. But for anyone else who's out there used to just vaping chloromizers or just cartomizers or just that sort of range of devices, you're going to pick this up and you're going to be fine with it. You're not going to struggle on anything. It's just going to work.
Yeah, I mean, they are just. This is just us trying to find niggles for the sake of finding niggles. To be honest with you, it is a case of, oh, well, I had to remove it every week. I didn't really have to. It's just I wanted to get my vape sort of where I wanted it. And the flush mounting thing, 90% of you is not going to bother. But we point them out to you. That's what we're here to do. But it is a very, very nice, very, very good product, and it does work extremely well. I may use it at work tomorrow. See how we go. But I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah.
We are pretty much done. We recommend this one, guys. Definitely. I think it's better than EVOD and a Nova. Praise doesn't come higher than that for a chloromizer. I think we're banging with that as well now. So go and check it out for the price. I really don't think that's a bad tank at all whatsoever. You're getting a good build quality in that. And obviously Firstvape, spot on as per usual. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I have been Mr. Proton. This has been The Worm. See you soon.
See you soon.